it's gonna take a psychological toll on you. It's gonna slowly eat you apart inside, and you will feel it at some point. And you will realize that the best way to change your behavior is to change it little by little. Today I'm gonna speak about the concept that was bugging me for quite a while, and I felt as though those things must be said and understood. So basically, what is my point? I don't think the best way to get rid of all your shortcomings, for example, being lazy or being undisciplined or trying to be better person, is just to get rid of all the laziness, all the non-discipline, all the unhappiness. That's not how you do it, okay? That's not how you do it. Because if you forget about it, if you cover it up, and you can read books about this, you have psychological books about this, you have Carl Jung, you have Sigmund Freud, and you have all the philosophers talking about this. You can't just cover up the things that you're trying to change. You can't avoid the problems and the problems just go away by themselves. That's not how those things work, okay? Here's how they work. So, for example, if you're angry at someone, if you're resentful at someone, that's better formulation. If you're resentful towards someone, that means that you have anger inside of you. And that anger will come out later in life. Maybe in 2 days, maybe in 5 days, maybe in 5 years. But you can be sure that as the longer the time horizon, the bigger the anger will come out, and the uglier way it will come out, and the more damage it will make to you and to people around you. And then you'll be psychologically damaged forever, because you won't be able to comprehend how in the world have you been able to do that, to say things that you have said, and to do things that you have done when you're really, really angry. And that fucks your brain up completely. So what you need to do is, first of all, identify when you are resentful or when you don't want to do something. First think, why don't you want to do something like that? What is the reason behind you wanting to do opposite of that in the first place? What is the reason? Because most of our lives, we are not dedicated and we are lazy to think through what are the reasons for us believing in something. You may be believing in something that is not in your best interest. You may be playing out some story, acting out some life that is not yours and that is doomed to fail. Okay? So it's important first to know whether you want something or not, or is that just some idea that someone put in your head that you should want it and you really don't. That's the first thing. Second thing is, don't try to get rid of your problems by ignoring them, by forcing them out of your life. That won't work, because they're going to come back one way or another. Maybe it won't be in the same in the same way of problem. Maybe it won't be the same problem, but it may come in much uglier ways. And trust me, you just can't imagine how bad of a person you could be. Especially if you're naive, you can't imagine how bad of a person you could be. That's really important. once you know what's your problem, you know it's your problem, then the only way to solve it is, as for example, that's what Jung said, Carl Jung. He said that you have to act out your fantasies. And then, if you have learned from, for example, Jordan Peterson, if you have studied what he's saying, the basic idea is this. This is the practice. You imagine in your mind what you fantasize about what would you do. For example, when you're angry, when you're really, really angry, you just, when you're naive and when you don't want to be bad guy, what you do is you suppress all your fantasies that are building up in your brain, and you don't act out any of them in reality. What happens is that those fantasies build up, and in one moment they all come out together, and that's the problem. So you need to think about them. You need to imagine what would you do. You need to imagine you're hitting the wall, you're destroying the door, you do whatever you want to filter out that anger. You can go to the gym, you can punch the bag, I don't care. But you can't let that anger be inside you. Because if it's inside you, it's gonna come out later. And you don't want that. And as we go towards, for example, if you want to get discipline, for example, you don't become disciplined by wanting it to do it with sheer will. You can do it to some extent with sheer will, and it's gonna last long time. But the problem is, it's gonna take a psychological toll on you. It's gonna slowly eat you apart inside, and you will feel it at some point. And you will realize that the best way to change your behavior is to change it little by little. Because if you change it altogether, I, for example, could change a lot of things with just sheer will and destroy myself again and again and again. But it's not good for you. It's truly not good for you. The best way is to lower your ego and realize that you are in worst shape that you have ever imagined, and start from the smallest thing you possibly could imagine. And then build up one on another. And if you don't want to do something, for example, you do it. You just show up. Then you, for example, for reading, you show up. You read a little. You read few sentences. You have a look at the book. You read 2 sentences. You read 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages, and suddenly your brain rewires and you actually want to read. You have passion to read. That's the point. If you can find and manage to be in that state of mind, to be able to be interested in what you're doing, then you can beat everyone else. Because if you're not interested in something and someone else is interested in something, he's gonna learn at much greater pace than you. If you just do it by sheer will, you will never be able to be engaged in what you're doing 100%. Because you will never be that interested in that thing. But if you learn to adapt your brain to the circumstances, and if you learn to do it repeatedly over and over again with slow incrementals, then at one point you will be able to be interested in things, and then you don't have to discipline yourself to do those things, but you love them. And that's the point of life. The point of life is not just to be disciplined and to not love the things that you do, but to be disciplined so that you manage to be able to love the things that you do. And then slowly find the things that you most enjoy your life in. And then do those things. And do just those things. And Carl Jung had this idea that if you're truly interested in something, that's your mind, your body, your soul telling you, okay, that's what you're gonna be best at. It's idea that you are set up from the birth to be interested automatically in things that will transform you the most. So if you can manage to be interested in something, you can manage to be best at it. And that's the whole point. You can manage to be best at something only if you're interested in that. And if you're trying just by sheer will, you can't be interested in things. And then you can't be the best at it. And what's the point in trying to be good at something if you're not gonna be the best? What's the point in it? Nobody wants that. So don't do it. Stick to your habits. Try to incrementally hire them more and more as the time goes, and then at one point you'll be interested and you'll become the best in what you do. That might take years, decades, but it's manageable, and that's the greatest thing of them all. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.